Hi guys, this is the advisor and welcome back to my channel. Now, this morning I woke up and I saw a message come on my YouTube channel to somebody who had made a comment and who I had responded to. First of all, I respond personally to every single message on my YouTube channel because all my viewers, all my subscribers are extremely important to me. So I give a personal response to every single one. And as long as they respond back, and if I need to respond again, I will. Anyway, this morning I saw a message came through stating about a gentleman who had a situation with the FLA. And he wrote a fairly long letter and he told me about his situation at the FLA. And for the very, very first time, I have an insight into the mind of the people at the Firearms Licensing Authority. I see clearly how their brains work, what their possible motives are, and the reason why the FLA was actually set up in the first place. And I wanted to listen this letter, because this is from the person who have been into the belly of the beast, so to speak, and have been refused a firearms license. And now I wanted to listen to what he says, and then I say my piece. But believe me, this is so mind-blowing. Nothing like this has ever been exposed with the FLA before, and it is important that the whole world know what's going on here. Now listen to this. Then let us start. As I had written in my previous email to you about the decision of the FLA to refuse my request to acquire a firearm user's license, I will now explain what I have been through. I made the application in October 2021 and did the interview 10 working days later. One of the questions I was asked during said interview was whether or not I had a safe to keep the firearm secure. I told the interview no, but then explained that I had brought one overseas and it was to be shipped here subsequently. She stated, that's the interviewer, she stated that it was not essential to have it in place at this stage and it would not affect the decision of the application. She said that if the investigators came to check the premises before the safe arrived, all I had to do was show him the spot where I had intended to put the safe. The investigator visited my home in March of 2022. When he came, he sat on the veranda and he asked me more questions and made notes on a clipboard. Again, I had to produce all of the documents I had produced earlier in the original application. I even showed him a copy of a firearm user's permit provisional, which proved that I had previously been authorized to handle other people's firearms legally, and which also proved that I was responsible and had a high level of competence. Next, he asked if I had a safe. I told him no. I let him know that I had brought one overseas and it would be on the island soon. I also let him know that I was told in my interview that my not having a safe in place during the home inspection would not affect the processing of the application. I then asked him point blank if it was essential to have the safe in place during this visit. But he kept changing the subject. In the end, I never got an answer. He then asked me to show him inside my bedroom, so we walked from the veranda to my bedroom. He stood at the door and peeped in, but never went inside or nothing. After we walked back to the veranda, he sat down and we continued to discuss the application, interspersed with a lot of small talk. This went on for at least another half an hour, In all, this visit lasted for more than 1.5 hours. During the visit, he didn't walk around the house, he didn't check the doors or windows or roof or anything. Bear in mind that all doors and windows of the property were properly grilled and secure. Even my bedroom door had on a grill. My yard has high concrete fencing all around with grill gates at the entrance. Also, I have bad dogs and CCTV cameras installed. I received the safe in April of 2022, about 2 weeks after the FLA home visit, and I informed them of this new development. Note also that I had also visited the FLA website many times and memorized all the information on there. I compared the information I found there against all the procedures in my application, and was satisfied that the application was 100% up to date. I also sought information from other licensed firearm holders that I knew and also got advice from YouTube on how to install a safe according to FLA requirements. In September of 2022, I received an email requesting that I collect my package at the FLA office within 14 working days. Upon collecting the package, I found that my application had been denied. I was floored by the decision because in truth and in fact, I had met all the requirements and had fulfilled all the criteria that would have made it a successful application. To make matters worse, they rubbed salt in my wound by stating that the reasons gave the denial, the investigator had put in the application that my home is not properly secured and was therefore not conducive to the secure registration of a firearm at that address. The report also mentioned the fact that I did not have a safe, but nothing was said about the fact that I had been told distinctly that it didn't need to be actually having a safe there during the inspection, and it did not make note of the fact that I had confirmed that a safe had been installed subsequently. I had planned on making an appeal against the decision because the investigation's report was dishonest. I made some inquiries and was told that if I appealed, it would incur a fee of 50,000 Jamaican dollars and could take up to 5 years. I started the appeal procedures by filling out the appeal form, adding pictures of my home, doors, windows, the safe, my animals, the CCTV cameras, and went to the FLA office. The lady at the front desk read the appeal form and looked at the pictures. She then picked up the phone and spoke to someone. After hanging up, she turned to me and told me that a decision like the one I got, I won't be able to appeal, since such a decision was irrevocable. I asked her why would it be irrevocable when it clearly stated in the decision letter that I can appeal within 21 days after receiving the letter. After I told her this, she left her desk and went through a door towards the back of the office. She then came back about 8 minutes after and told me that she had just had further consultation and reiterated that the information she had given me previously was not only true but final. She then said that the only thing she could advise me to do is to ask for a review of the decision if my situation changed. She then gave me an email address for the CEO and told me to hear what he had to say on the matter. After leaving the FLA office, I went for an overseas trip the next day, so I never got the chance to secure a lawyer to act on my behalf. Read the matter. While overseas, I phoned the FLA. A few days later, I was told to send an email to the decision board. I did that. The decision board responded to my email telling me that I should write to the director of application and request an early appeals application before the 2-year period from the time I was denied. But I'm overseas now till after Christmas, but I wish I could speak to someone big in authority at the FLA office on my return to the island. I know it's a long letter to you, Mr. Advisor, but thank you for your patience reading, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, here's the point. This man did every single... I have absolutely no doubt on the face of the earth that this man complied with every single detail of what he was supposed to do on the application. His conduct was pristine. I have no doubt. So much drunkard could not apply and get turned down. If policemen, serving soldiers, nurses, doctors, teachers, all the decent people in this society are being turned down, what does that say? Is it something wrong with everybody? Or is it something wrong with the FLA? Somebody tell me that. Now, after hearing this, you know what come to mind? This is a big brother situation. You see, you have to understand, a repressive government does not want its decent citizens to have guns. No repressive regime wants its decent citizens to have guns. The reason being, when a repressive regime wants to rob and steal and do all the evil, the last thing they would want is for decent, conscientious people to be able to put up resistance. Surprisingly, I go further. It is better for this government to know that these bloodthirsty murderers in the gangs have guns than decent people. It serves the purpose of the government more. And when I say government, I mean any PNP government or any JLP government. I'm not picking on any specific government. Any Jamaican government would really not be sleeping comfortable in their beds if more decent people had licensed firearms. And I tell you why. Decent people with guns will stand up to the government and resist. Dirty corner boy, that they can pay a little money to do their bidding when it comes to getting in power, and they can control, because remember, those bloodthirsty murderers, anybody give them money, any government or any opposition give them money, they'll take it and do their bidding. They can't get decent people to do their bidding. So it is in their business, it is in the interest of the Andrew Holness government, as it would be if the other PNP man come in, it would also be in his interest. We are between a rock and a hard place. None of these criminals would want a decent citizen to have a gun, a licensed firearm. That is something that I need to make clear. Now, another thing to look at. I went through, after what this man said, I went back on the website of the FLA. And guess what I found? Something, and this is pretty interesting. Listen to this. They have a board of directors. And this board of directors comprise 6 people. These 6 people are all right. How many men or women do you think is among this lot? I'm going to tell you. There are 5 women and 1 man. Now, there's a problem there. We know that women hate guns. Women hate guns. No, women hate anything to do with violence or anything. And women take a more whimsical and romantically idealistic approach to weapons in general and wars and any form of violence. And women cannot or will never see the linkages between peace and having a firearm. They have this romantically idealistic view that the way to cure violence is simply to emasculate the entire society. They don't know how, they don't know when, but they are stuck with with the romanticism of just nobody having guns. So they don't want decent people to have guns because they feel the more guns out there, the more violence. They are not looking at it that the less guns in the hands of decent people is the more violence against decent people by the marauding, bloodthirsty thugs who have absolutely no loyalty to anyone. They would rather to know that less guns are out there, even if less guns mean that the only guns out there are in the hands of bloodthirsty, marauding thugs. So we are stuck between a set of people who have this romantically idealistic notion that guns should not exist. And then we have the head of the FLA who thinks also that guns should not exist. And therefore, the people just supposed to defend on the guns of the policemen and the guns owned by the government and issued to policemen, which the government can disarm at any time if they feel like. And these same policemen who the government is sending out there to protect us, who can barely protect us, who can't protect us anyway, even if they genuinely want to, they cannot even protect themselves because they are denied the ability to even protect themselves. Now, when you have a room full of a board out there and this FLA board, and you have this FLA board, and it's just a room full of estrogen of people who are just romantically idealistic and pacific and has no sense of the realities on the ground. And when you have men, so-called men in there, who I know, even though they're against guns, maybe their boyfriends have guns, because I know they would issue guns. Those men at the FLA would issue guns to their boyfriends. And you are going to tell me that we normal citizens cannot have one? Now, here is my suggestion. I want Jamaica, all the decent people in Jamaica, to stand up and be counted. Bring a class action suit against the government. Bring a class action suit against the government to prove, to highlight the fact that they have been denied the right to defend themselves, and let the government prove. And if any of them is ever shot or robbed on the street, if they can also claim that the government placed their lives in jeopardy by not having them armed. And I think this class action should start by first every person who have been denied a firearms license and every person who intended to apply but know for a fact, based on the results of others who have been turned down, whose situations like them are just as perfect, instead of applying, just start a class action suit or start some kind of legal and let the government knows that no more. You Jamaican citizens, decent Jamaican citizens, should have a right to protect themselves. And I have an even greater suggestion. While this class action or this public protest is going on, or the sit-in, whatever you want to call it, nobody should apply to the FLA for at least 2 years. No, since if you know say you're going to apply and be turned down and they have to wait 5 years, everybody who is going to apply can just simply stop applying. Just do not apply. Let the government run the agency and it not getting a penny, and let them sit down there and sit up at Whole Up Road and fill up them one another for the next few years, and we'll see if them have a job. Just do that. And I think we should have a total boycott of the FLA. Now, I want you guys to write in and tell me what you think. And believe me, I'll be the catalyst for all of this. If there's anybody out there who think they want us to go this way, let us meet on Zoom, let us decide a plan of action, and let us take it to them. No more. As a country, we need to stand up. Decent citizens in this country need to stand up. Now, I don't know who is with me, but let's go there and see where it goes. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to seeing my next video.